Of course, when you see me adorned in native or traditional attire, you already know what day of the week it is. It is Friday, the 11th day of October 2024, and I'm super excited to welcome you to the Breakfast Cafe on High Impact Television. I am Sarah Owusu-Ansah, and I was just saying, it's giving rich auntie vibes, it's giving classy, it's giving... Before we came on, my producer had already, made my head swell, as well as my associate producer. But I welcome you to the program, and you know that I don't do this by myself. I'm not going to say what just came to my head. I have Olumide here with me in the studio, looking smashing in this white and, what would I call this color now?
The demon color.
I didn't say it. He said it himself. So, but then, Olumide, before you, they say for Yoruba, there's a way they wear their cap. To the left is what?
Married.
Right.
Single.
The one you are doing, Uncle?
Well, it's tilted to the
It's
right.
not tilted. It's in the middle. Which style
No,
is
it's
that?
tilted. Actually, it's tilted
ready to
the
mingle,
right.
ready to have fun.
It's single.
Playboy.
No. If it's the front, I think, the front means you have no clue about your life. You're just...
Welcome, Olumide. Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
Yes, they say Friday is the reward you get for having an amazing week. So I welcome you to the Breakfast Cafe. I am Olumide Shokoya. We have a whole lot in store. So we start with etiquettes this morning. Stick around and we'll be right back. Welcome back. So on etiquette this morning, we're looking at setting achievable goals. Now, setting realistic expectations. I like that emphasis on realistic. Because we are fond of, having this New Year resolution, New Year goals, but you have to also be realistic, especially this economy that we are, that prices are, undetermined.
Right.
You could wake up tomorrow and the price is something
It brings me to this whole thing where they say your plans and your goals have to be smart.
Yes.
Smart. It has to be specific. It has to be measurable. It has to be achievable. It has to be realistic and timely. It doesn't sit well when you are setting goals for yourself and you know that no, let's come to real life. I can't achieve this in the space of 2 months. You give yourself a target and you say, I want to achieve this in 2 months. Meanwhile, you know that this is not possible in 2 months. So it has to be very, very realistic.
And sometimes even realistic goals could sometimes become unrealistic. I mean, due to forex exchange for those who are studying abroad and all that, or those who plan to do certain things. But let's start off. Setting realistic expectations involves defining achievable and attainable goals, outcomes, or standards that align with available resources, capabilities, and constraints. Now, realistic expectations are predictions or assumptions about what can be accomplished or achieved, considering factors like 1, available resources, that's time, money, and personnel, current capabilities, skills, expertise, what you can actually do, potential obstacles, risks, challenges, Nigeria's economy, let me add that there. Now, past experiences, yes, past experiences also matter, like failures, success, even though sometimes they say failures, what defines your, part of the lessons you learn, to move forward. Then industry benchmark, such as standards and best practices. Now, let's take this last one. Key characteristics, achievable, yes, achievable, align with available resources and capabilities, just like we rightly said. Attainable, reasonable, possible to accomplish. Yes, that is also very important. Measurable, quantifiable outcomes and progress. Time-bound, specific deadlines or timelines. Flexible, allows for adjustment and adaptation. Yes, so don't just say, okay, I want to achieve this in 2 months. You might not be able to achieve it in 2 months. Okay, I'm not able to, let me
take it easy on yourself. Try to be flexible and don't put too much pressure.
Don't put too much pressure.
Yourself.
And lastly, informed, based on relevant data, expertise, and experience. You have to be well informed about whatever you're going to do so that you are not caught off guard, especially, like I always say, in this unpredictable economy. I think let's stop for here.
No, let's quickly give them some types of realistic expectations. We have just about 4 of them. We have personal expectations, which has to do with your self-performance. We have interpersonal expectations. This is when you are talking about your team, maybe the team you work with, the relationships you have, the relationships you've built over time with family, friends, loved ones, and all of that. We have organizational expectations. This has to do with business or institutions. This is the very formal sector that we're talking about. So this sector also has its own expectation. And we have project-specific expectations. This is talking about your goals and your objectives. So those are some types of expectations. But when you're talking about expectations, you ask yourself, are there benefits of expectations? Oh yes.
Yes, there are.
Just if you think they are not, there are a few of them. We'll see it helps you to reduce stress and frustration. It increases your motivation and confidence. It helps you enhance credibility and trust. It also improves your decision making and planning. It encourages learning and growth and fosters resilience and adaptability. So when you set realistic expectations, these are the benefits that would.
And it also increases your knowledge, because by setting expectations, by setting realistic goals, you have to also seek knowledge. You have to find out about this certain. So it also broadens your, and you become experienced. You learn one or two things from it. So I think this is where we would stop for etiquette this morning. Let's go over to the newspaper and see what is happening in today's dailies. We'll be right back with the newspaper review.
Welcome back. Now, this is the newspaper review on the Breakfast Cafe, where we take a look at stories making the rounds on the national dailies. The past couple of days has been a lot, I must say, and we saw an increase that was on Wednesday,
yes,
in the price of premium motor spirit, popularly called petrol, and it's being sold for it's about 1,030 naira to 1,200, there about 300, and this has. It has affected everybody. In fact, it has affected me, that affected you. Nigerians are not smiling, I must say. I was on my way to the office this morning, and at about 5:45 thereabout, there was a particular fuel station that didn't even open, but there was already a queue building up because there's already scarcity of petrol. And yesterday was World Mental Health Day, and yeah, it came at a time where people are going through a lot, and it's disturbing that the situation is not getting any better. And if we're not careful, we'll see a whole lot of more people fall into depression, because it is actually depressing.
Very depressing.
But what do the papers have for us today? It's not all. It's not something. Most of the stories on the national dailies, they're not something to cheer you up or make you feel better. But don't worry, we'll do our best to, make you feel better ways that we can. Right. Well, let's go to the papers, but don't forget that you can be a part of the conversation. 0812-182-0154 is the number to call. Do well to call us. You want to talk about the current economic situation, we're here. You want to contribute to any of the stories on the dailies, we're here to take your calls. Now, the Vanguard newspaper has this major read: petrol price hike. Nasima, PDP, Atiku, CSOs, others insist on reversal. Starting to sound like a broken record because when this whole thing came up, we heard them calling for a reversal as well. Even the NLC came out, then you must reverse this fuel price, but we didn't see anything come to the fore. Rather, we've seen it's as though this thing has been increased about twice or three times, if I'm correct.
Yes.
Yeah, and now they are calling for another a reversal. Are we even being heard? This is coming after the Fearless in October protest that took place on the 1st of October, and few days after, we see this again. End bad governance, hunger, everything. We're crying. But guess what? It's as though it's falling on deaf ears.
You know, it's quite funny, first of all, how a country that has been blessed with a lot of mineral resources, oil and the rest, we're still experiencing scarcity these days. And it's also quite funny how NNPC went about this whole thing. It's almost as if getting fuel outside the country was even cheaper.
Yeah, because now we have a Dangote, and it doesn't make the situation any better.
Yes.
But you know, opposition parties have come out, they cry this. Social media has been buzzing. X, which was formerly called Twitter, has been trending with a tag, T-Pain. Nigerians have come out to express their worries, and the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, person of Atiku Abubakar, also released a statement, and he also used the phrase T-Pain. And that has been trending because the pain of Nigerians at this point. But there are a lot of riders to that story, a whole lot of it. You can get details on page 5. We'll definitely talk about it when our guest joins us. Just above the masthead, we see this headline: NIN SIM linkage of all phone numbers completed. That's according to the NCC. That's a good one, I must say. If truly they've been able to link SIM cards, all SIM cards to their NIN, kudos to the NCC. Page 4 has the details. Now, this headline, you know, made me chuckle when I saw it. My husband, not cause of current hardship. The statement is credited to the First Lady of Nigeria, Oluremi Tinubu. She says her husband, which is the president, is not responsible for the current hardship. I saw a video of her where she donated, is it about 1 billion naira to, is it OAU, if I'm correct. I saw the video yesterday, and she has come out to actually say everything happening in Nigeria, her husband is not the cause of it.
Okay.
But your husband is at the helm of affairs.
Helm of affairs.
He's the forerunner. He's the #1.
He dropped the bomb on the inauguration day of the fuel subsidy.
Well, even though there had been conversation around the subsidy, so experts have said subsidy was already gone, but he just made the official announcement. But even at that, things have not gotten any better. It's been how many months now? About 17 months, and we've only seen things take a nosedive. Now, if we're going to go into statistics, President Tinubu has gone for 17 months, or 35.41% of his tenure. And according to report, he has not done a single structured media interview, both at home or abroad. Now, in that space of 17 months, he has managed to increase inflation by 33%.
Manage, you say?
Yeah, I had to take note of this. He has managed to increase inflation by 33%. He has ballooned the national debt of the country by over 20%, wiped off 75% of Naira's value, and shrunk the GDP by over 50%. So I take this question to the First Lady. Make us understand better how your husband is not the cause of the current hardship. I leave my thoughts there. It's a page 8 read, Vanguard newspaper. Beside that story, deny allocations to local governments where selections were done. Senate tells federal government. I'd love to see how this pans out. Page 4 has the details. Kidnap. Police rescue 6 sports journalists. We are glad they have been rescued. We hope they're able to rescue more that are in custody. Page 30 has the details. We'll move very swiftly. Safe judiciary from collapse needs total overhauling. Clark writes CJN. Page 9 has all the details. Death penalties, 3,650 inmates on a death row nationwide. That's according to ASF. Get details on page 6. Rivers Assembly crisis, appeal court affirms Amawule as speaker. That's a page 10 read. And lastly, in sports, page 31, AFCON 2025 qualifiers. Don't undermine Libya and want Super Eagles. But I said on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper this morning.
All right, let's move on to the Punch newspaper this morning. Just like the Vanguard newspaper, almost the same headline: petrol price hike. Ipman tackles NNPCL, threatens to stop operations. We have just one writer. It says marketers accuse NNPCL of inflating Dangote petrol price. Miman continue loading subsidized PMS. Yesterday we had a very engaging conversation around this whole thing, and Shiji Adebi Bennett explained to us why petrol prices at this amount, that it doesn't even take anybody, it doesn't take a genius to figure it out. Just do your calculations at home and you'll be able to tell how much it is. And he made it clarity, he made us understand that it is OPEC. As a result of us being a member of OPEC, they are the ones who control this price. So we cannot, yes, even if we want to reduce the price, that is subsidy. That's the only way out. We subsidize things. So, well,
it's a subsidy that has been removed for about 17 months now. And I recall then, in the first month, or after 1 or 2 months, they said they had saved about 1 trillion naira thereabouts.
Yes.
Either one,
yeah, 1 trillion naira.
Yeah.
Every month.
Every month. So, if I may, can we have a proper audit and a breakdown of this monies that has been saved from the removal of subsidy? What has it been used for? Now, people are angry. On social media, people have actually been expressing their anger. You say you have saved this amount of money from subsidy, yet it's not being pumped back to make anything better. All we are seeing is some sort of renovation of the vice president's apartment. We're seeing the purchase of private jets. We're seeing this and that. Yet, the people that are being governed are living in continuous hardship. So, were we not better off when there was subsidy?
Before we can even talk about that 1 trillion naira, I remember that viral video of Sanusi Lamido, the former CBN governor. He stated in his own words that the finance minister or the finance ministry don't even have a record of how much barrel NNPCL is producing per day. So how can we even know how much we are saving from subsidy? It's alarming and quite concerning. Now, just beside the masthead, it says Oyedepo's 2 deputies step down next week. You can find more of that on page 16 of the Punch newspaper. Just above that, we have NULGA threatened suit over governor's bill to control local government funds. We're still back at this again. I don't know why we're still going back and forth. Now, beside that, 7 banks pay 392 billion naira tax. That's according to a report on page 25. Still a whole lot going on in Rivers State. Fubara heads to Supreme Court as appeal court affirms pro-Wike lawmakers.
Wow.
I have a feeling, it's not a bad thought and it's not me being negative. I have a feeling that Fubara might just spend his whole tenure fighting
this
unseen battle.
Nah, but he has headed to Supreme Court, so that's the highest, that's the apex court. So I just hope that this issue can be resolved, at least, so that he can even concentrate on Rivers State, and Nyesom Wike can actually concentrate on the Federal Capital Territory, which is his jurisdiction, and just leave Fubara and his cabinet to handle Rivers State, and let's move on so the grass doesn't suffer anymore.
All right, have this one. It's a good one. You can see a picture here of our governor of Lagos State, Sanwo-Olu, and the caption says, Governor Sanwo-Olu inspects ongoing 7-story new Mercy Children Hospital. Quite an innovation there, a good one there. Kudos to those involved. Just below that, we have, we have Lebanese jailed 14 years for sexually exploiting 2 teenage girls. That's on page 14. I hope the authorities will be able to fish out the perpetrators and, of course, bring them to book. Now, the last one says why military has gone after Asari Dokubo. Isn't that about time? And that's coming from the Defense Headquarters. That's on page 14 of the Punch newspaper. And I think that's all we have right now coming from the Punch newspaper.
This story about why military has not gone after Asari Dokubo, that's the Defense Headquarters. They've also said, don't dare military. They've warned him. The guy, I know that I saw that story on the Guardian newspaper. The Defense Headquarters have dared former militants to come out of his battlefield and see what the military is capable of. So it's like a game of, you know what?
It's the audacity for me.
Just come out and we'll show you what we can do.
I think these days everybody seems to be daring the military. The bandits are daring them, Asai Dokubo. I mean, but I think that's all we have right now from the Punch newspaper.
All right, 0812-182-0154 is the number to call. Now, let's quickly take a look at the Daily Trust. What does it have for us this morning? Nothing really different. When I talk about nothing really different, I'm talking about the major read and what we've taken from the Vanguard and the Punch, which has to do with the fuel situation in the country. Ipman tackles NNPCL over new petrol price. 5 riders to that story. They have said oil firm bought product for 899 naira but sells at over 1,000 naira per liter. It will come down. That's coming from the trading arm of National Oil Company. Streets deserted as workers and students trek. Atiku knocks Tinubu. Amechi calls for protest as TUC seeks reversal of hike. Calling for protest. We've seen how many protests in this administration. Since this administration came into office, we've had a couple of protests, and even between August and October, in August we had a 10-day protest, August 10 to August 1st to August 10. And in October as well, we had a protest on the 1st of October. So at this point, do you actually think a protest will make anything different? Because it feels like they're not even hearing our voices.
Well, we'll still continue because that's the only, no, not the only, but that's one of the ways we can actually call the government to call them out. You know, there are some other protests, like the viral video of the man who was bathing in that water that was arrested in Delta State. That's another form of protest. But
he was arrested.
He was arrested.
A couple of people that also took part in the protest in August that were arrested, some have been charged with treason, some have been slammed the sum of 10 million naira bill, which shorts in life sum.
Reduced.
So looking at how they handle protests, are we saying that we are sort of confined? We cannot really express our grievances through protests because the next thing is they wield the power of arrest over the citizens.
I think it has to do with the government, how they handle protests, because the people who are in power also use this particular form to air out their views during the days of Jonathan and the rest of them. They did the same thing.
So why is there some sort of, if I could use the word, clamp down on protesters and protest, even when it's not taking a violent turn? But let's quickly move on now. We're running out of time. Above that story, we see this Plateau local government poll turns violent as protesters burn motorcycles. Now, this is a protest that has been hijacked and turned into something else. Beside that story, Borno confirms escape of 6 repentant insurgents. I just shake my head when I hear this repentant.
Is it actually working?
I don't think so, going by what we see on the 4th. That's a page 7 read. Beside that story, bandits appoint and depose village heads in my communities. That's coming from the Sokoto local government chair. We can see a pictorial representation of the streets deserted as commuters are stranded in Abuja yesterday amid the hike in pump price. Out of school children threats to national security. That's coming from Vice President Kashim Shettima. Details page 5. Soldier stabs police inspector to death in Lagos.
I saw that.
Soldier stabs police inspector to death. Over what? What could have been the reason?
Both security agents, but well,
wow,
it's another story for another day.
We hope that the due process will be followed for this. NFIU raises concern over inflow of weapons from Libya. That's a page 5 read. And lastly, appeal court upholds pro-Wike lawmaker as Rivers Speaker voids budget. That's on page 10. And that wraps it up on the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper this morning.
All right, the last newspaper is the Guardian newspaper this morning. Quite an interesting pictorial here with the caption. It says, "War against corruption, where anti-graft ego turns a blind eye to sacred cows." Now, I don't know who that is referring to or who the paper referring to, but you can see an eagle trying to, well, it's quite explanatory if you get the picture there. But let's quickly move on. Just below that, I think Sarah read this headline earlier on. My husband not greedy, working for better future.
I feel like actually giving a round of applause. I'm sorry. That caption just working for a better future. You know, I've said this thing before and I'll say it again. I wouldn't be surprised come 2026. We start to see things getting better. Guess what? Elections are in 2027. So at that time, we can see, you'd probably hear a lot of people say, oh, yes, it's working. This is working for us. But we have petrol at 500 naira now. We have this and this and this. And that will also now influence people. But why wait until your last lap of the race? Because we've seen that happen a couple of times.
Yeah, I remember when our current governor trended during election, towards election, he trended. I remember that time.
He was eating boilie.
He was shaking hands in church.
You know.
And all that.
It's election, so.
We'll see. Well, if that is some sort of succor to Nigerians, maybe we will have to wait till 2026.
No, that's not any form of succor. The hardship has gone beyond unbearable. You cannot. I saw a tweet yesterday. Someone said, "To live in Nigeria is hard. To leave Nigeria is hard."
Yes.
To live in Nigeria is very expensive and hard. To even leave Nigeria is also expensive and hard. So and someone replied and said it's as though they are testing how far you can take it and how many people can even take it before they break down. Well, I'm just, it's overwhelming, honestly.
We can only hope we don't break down. Just like you said, yesterday was Mental Health Day. We just hope that people are just trying to live. People are just surviving. That's the word. People are just trying to survive every other day. But let's move on. We have Atiku, CUPP, TUC, and others knock Tinubu over handling of fuel subsidy. That's on news page 6. Below that, we have Shetima, Kalu, Abiodun decry rising population of uneducated kids, urge action. You know, this particular headline is quite interesting. Now, the last bit of the list, yes, we have Don't Dare Military Defense Headquarters 1, Asari Dokubo. That's on news page 28. Reps kick against multiple tax burdens on Nigerians. Yes, multiple tax burdens is something that we really need to look into. But let's quickly go on a short break, and when we come back, we'll bring in our guest and we would probably, discuss at length some of the headlines we just read out. So stick around, we'll be right back. Welcome back. It's still the newspaper review, and don't forget you can also call us. Tell us what's happening in your area. How are you finding this new petrol price hike? What is going on? How is it in your area? What's the current price in your state or in your area? We'd like to hear all that. You can call the number displayed on your screen. You can also take part in the discussion this morning. We're also streaming on YouTube and on X, formerly known as Twitter, at High Impact Studio. We're joined virtually by Dr. Wisdom Enang. It's so glad to have you this morning.
Thank you very much, and good morning to you both.
Thank you for calling.
Now, I would have asked you, but I want to believe you're not in the country. I would have asked you how you're finding this new price hike, in the country, or maybe your loved ones too. Maybe how are they finding it right now?
Yeah, I'm currently not in the country, currently in London, but the price hike, I think it's changed quite a lot, because people are thinking, for example, how are they going to be able to foot some of the increments in the commuting transport modes, whether it be the tricycle or the buses. A lot of those transports have automatically increased. So that's really taking the pinch, and you would know once you start posting things, and they tell you, okay, the price is now 1,000 on top of what it used to be because of the additional cost of fuel.
Right. I know that we've had a couple conversations around this, but if we're going to take a brief, let's take it back a little. Now, the subsidy was removed if I could target 29th of May 2023, and 17 months after, we have seen that this has caused some sort of inflation one way or the other to rise to 33%. When the petrol price was first increased, we got calls from the NLC TUC for them to reverse it. Nothing was done about it, and now we've seen that increment again, even when we thought, okay, with NNPCL getting fuel from Dangote refinery, we should even come at a cheaper rate. Rather, all we've been seeing is increase here and there. And now they have been calling for a sort of reversal, and some have criticized the NNPCL, saying that they bought the product at 899 naira but are selling it at over 1,000. At this point in time, do you think there is a possibility of any form of reversal? Because we've seen this increment take place at least 2 times. From petrol, when the president came in, petrol was about 190 something naira thereabouts, but guess what? It's about 1,050 naira now. So do we see the possibility of a form of reversal, and how can they buy a product at 899 naira and sell at over 1,000? Let's get your perspective on that.
All right, thank you very much. I think to look at that, I would have to kind of consider what the NNPCL are perhaps trying to achieve, and I'll have to consider some of the nuances in the entire value chain. Now, I'd like to say that there are 2 critical ways that I tend to think the petroleum products will be paid for, either by the government or by the consumers. But what the NNPCL did is to say we would, supply the fuel, whether it's through being the Dangote's sole distributor or through importation. But within that, they were absorbing some sort of subsidy. So I think the latest one was 133 naira per liter of fuel output was what they were actually subsidizing. And so what you'd find is that the NNPCL have slowly reeled out the subsidy component. Now, as for, and that's why we're now paying a cost-reflective price for the PMS. And it's very easy to see it, because if you think about it, the derivatives of the petroleum refining process, likely you have PMS, you have the aviation fuel, and you have the AGO, which is the diesel. Now, if you look at it, the diesel is about 1,250. The petrol now is about 1,030. And so you find out that both of those, one is, been deregulated for a while and has found its market price. The other one is still trying to find its actual market price. So you see that sometimes the market forces and the macro equilibrium are trying to establish the price point for both commodities and very close to each other because, of course, they are derivatives of the petroleum process. So the NNPCL have been absorbing subsidy. I think they're trying to, in a phased manner, completely take that out. As for the one that they're buying and making profits, I'm not sure why that is the case. That needs to be looked into. The only glimmer of hope, just to answer your last question, where you ask, is there a possibility of a reduction, is this. For me, I think that glimmer of hope lies in the crude for naira deal coming in effect. Because think about it, the first increase we got clearly stated that we had 133 naira price per litre still being paid as subsidy. However, those inventory was as a result of the refining process on the crude inventory that the Dangote refinery had to get from the US, the WTI variant. And so that was, we could understand that price. Now, going into the crude for naira deal, which started in October, just early October, we should be able, if we are able to meet the 450,000 barrels per day allocation to the domestic refineries, we should technically be able to have enough benefits that would, cancel the cost of shipment, the cost of clearing, the cost of insurance, and of course, the cost of the middlemen when it comes to the importation of fuel. By extension, when we get that 20 to 25% benefit from just the logistics and insurance alone, we can then cascade those benefits to the ordinary Nigerian. So in the nearest 2 to 3 months, when the crude for naira deal really crystallizes, we should have a reduction in price if only we implement it properly.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Wisdom. And I'd like to ask 2 questions. Now, let's look at the alternative to premium motor spirits, which is CNG. I know the federal government have been trying to implement the CNG buses and whatnot and all that. So the first question is, can Nigeria, as a country, can we actually adapt, or can we move to adapting the CNG? And secondly, will Nigerians get any disparities in the price of goods and services? Will it boost the GDP of the economy? Would there be any really significance if we move, or if we adapt compressed natural gas as an alternative to PMS?
Very wonderful questions there. So, let me just reflect on the tenets of energy security, which is energy affordability, energy accessibility, and energy availability. On energy affordability, we've been able to establish something that the price per liter equivalent, remember CNG is not measured in liters, but if you convert the price per liter equivalent of CNG for the same energy content versus the price per liter equivalent for the PMS, you'll find out that the CNG is 230 naira per liter in equivalence compared to the PMS, the CNG is 200 per liter compared to 1,030 naira for the PMS, and so that's a huge kind of range. And should be told, right, when we're subsidizing initially and PMS was at about 100 and something naira, 160, 190, maybe 200, it did not make sense because it means it was still cheaper. But as we then go on, you see that is beginning to make a big case for conversion. But what about the 2 other tenets of the energy security, which is the accessibility and availability? You have to think about that. What is availability? Availability is having enough companies that are producing gas for internal consumption and not for export. Remember, the legacy facilities for the Nigerian gas installations has always been for exports. We have more export terminals than we have internal distribution terminals. And that's why we don't really have gas pipelines. So as a result, we have been more export focused. So it's time for us to create that availability in country. The other thing is accessibility. Well, you have a CNG car, but if you are in, let's give it a context, Uyo, for example, how many of those little subsidies within the Uyo metropolis can you actually get your CNG, fuel? And that's the biggest question. So there are advantages out there, but the government needs to do a lot to be able to, kind of create the tripod stand of energy security, which is affordability, accessibility, and availability. Now, I'll give you a little bit of more context. Now, think about it. Currently, if you look at on the flip side, which is the the housing or the use of energy transition within housing, you find out that because you have solar panels and inverters, they're accessible, they are affordable for the long term, and I don't mean the initial cost in terms of the operating cost, and also they are readily accessible because available because you can just go buy them from the store. What has happened? A lot of houses now have solar panels. A lot of houses now have inverters, and even if they don't have a solar panel, they have an inverter that they're charging. What do? They have an inverter that they're charging, and then they connect it to the house. And then when there is no main supply from the electricity distribution, the central distribution, they cut off some of the, they do what we call load shedding and remove a lot of the load and only keep vital, lighting points and maybe sockets for the inverter to run. Two things has happened there. Energy transition and energy efficiency of utilization. Those are the two things. And this is something that goes with, gives credence to the sort of adage that necessity is the mother to invention. So, see, without any, formal teaching, without any engineering, we now have people that have become energy engineers. They not only are looking at cheaper ways to transit in energy on the energy spectrum, they are also becoming more energy efficient. The same thing can apply to automotive if only the government makes the availability and accessibility something that becomes quite widely implemented. And one of the ways to do this is for the government to lead from their own, to walk the talk. Basically, investors want to know, if I come into this market, is there a long term to it? The first thing should have been all government official vehicles, we need to convert them within the next 6 months. You need to convert them to CNG. And so if I'm setting up a CNG plant, I know definitely that even if I do not have the market from the main consumers, I do have a market from the government appointees, and that's a starting point. That's even a way to send a signal that we are serious. It's a way to send a signal that we are ready to walk the talk, and that we have started indications that shows that we have a long-term interest of sustaining this particular business.
All right. Thank you for that very well-detailed analysis. But there's been some sort of conversation around, the Minister of Petroleum should not be, the Office of the Minister of Petroleum Resources should not be headed by the President, because as of now, the President holds the office of the Minister of Petroleum Resources, even though he appointed Heineken Lokobiri as the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources for Oil and Ekperikpe Ekpo as Minister of State for Petroleum Resources for Gas in August 2023. They have been calling for a very independent body to man that role, saying that the President should not interfere in petroleum resources based on the number of things he has on his hands. And Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, has also come out to say the NNPCL does not have the power to actually increase fuel price. So let us understand things properly. Are we saying that this particular increase did not come from the NNPCL but from other forces? And when you answer that, I would like to understand your perspective on this position of Minister of Petroleum Resources being held by the President of the country.
All right, thank you. When you talk about price increase, right, the NNPCL would come out and disclaim to you that first and foremost, it is just increasing the prices that it feels is okay for its own refinery, its own downstream operations. And that doesn't in any way interfere with the prices of those people who can afford to sell it cheaper. And if they can afford, they can go ahead and set those prices. That's the disclaimer you're probably going to get from the NNPCL. But we all know the truth be told, that the NNPCL is the main indicator. And once they increase, everybody increases for obvious reasons. So, I'm just trying to tell you that it is black and white in real life, but it has a bit of grayish area when it comes to the legalities around it. But just to explain the increase is, let's put it this way. With 133 naira per litre still embedded as subsidy, we knew that the increase was going to come, because we did see the publication that even at that price, the NNPCL was still paying 133 naira per litre. Now, let's look at, so we now know the motive, but let's look at the opportunity. The opportunity came when the Middle East crisis involving Israel, Lebanon, and Iran happened. And then the prices of crude went up slightly, and so the NNPCL thought, wow, what a fantastic opportunity to do this, and it'll be easier to tell people that, okay, it is that war that is causing the problem. So we have the intent and the opportunity coming to meet each other. It was time to strike. So there was always that cost burden, but no better time to let it go than to say, well, this slight increase in crude has turned it. But the truth is, if you calculate the differential, with the percentage differential that the increment in crude has caused, plus any differential in the logistics cost, you find out that that doesn't correspond to the price increase in our fuel system, and that tells you that there's another cause which they really wanted to get out very quickly, but this was just an opportunity to get it out. Now, if you're looking at the powers of the minister and whether or not that should be domiciled, I believe for a more efficient system, this is my thought. Maybe I may be open to debate, but for a more efficient system, there should be division, and of course there should be separation of powers. Of course, there should be. We should have no potential for conflict of interest. No potential. I'm not saying that it exists, but I'm saying there shouldn't be any potential for conflict of interest. But whether that powers is going to be domiciled in an individual or in an institution is something still up for argument, because some people may say take it to an individual, just like we used to have back then when like back in the days where we had Desiani as the minister. But the question is that what you want to do, or do you really want to create a parastatal where there are checks and balances, and that power is domiciled on the parastatal, and there's a clearly laid out approach for how decisions are reached? I think that's the ultimate aim, and I think ultimately, I like to tell people that the Petroleum Industry Act is still, I like to say, is still developing. It's still a case that we haven't gotten it perfectly right. In fact, no law has been gotten perfectly right, and these are some of the areas for additional improvements in the PIA.
Right. Thank you very much. Just before we let you go very quickly, there's been a little tussle between Asari Dokubo and the military. Now, if we take it, yesterday the Defense Headquarters has dared the former militant leader, Asari Dokubo, to come to the battlefield and see what the military is capable of. Now, this is connected to a statement made by Asari Dokubo on the 5th of October, where he threatened to shoot down a military helicopter which was hovering over his residence, and he added that he has the capacity to contain the Nigerian military. It seems like a form of tussle is going on between the Nigerian military and the former militant. I would like to get your perspective on this situation and how best it can be properly managed.
Right, I think I'll plead for dialogue. We have enough problems already, because at the end of the day, think about it. I always go by the adage that sometimes when you see a masquerade dancing on the road, there's definitely someone beating the drums for the masquerade. And at some point, when you get to, you try to reach out to the masquerade, you find out that the guys in the bush will probably come out and drag the masquerade, but what about the followers of the masquerade? That's what really worries me. What about the people that are going to be around when the whole tussle is going on. So I think let's understand that it's hard enough. Let's put people in our own situation put ourselves in other people's situation rather, and know that it is hard enough for people to even survive Nigeria currently. In fact, the people deserve a certificate of survival to even make it this far.
Very true.
And keep a very sane mind, because trust me, I've been in the UK, and for quite just even for example when September 11 happened, or even the London Metro bombing, when that happened, people watched TVs and ran into depression. A lot of them had to even claim some sort of support from the government for depression. And this is just watching the TV, a lot of them, but talk less of being actively involved in the whole economic crisis, and then of course any other conflict. It's too much for Nigeria. So the two actors should know that, please, if it goes on, it's going to affect a lot of Nigerians, and they should please give dialogue a chance.
All right. Thank you so much. That's a very safe place to land. Give dialogue a chance. It's been a delight speaking with you, Dr. Wisdom Enang, on the newspaper review this morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you both, and do enjoy your day.
I wish you the very same. Thank you. All right. That was quite a succinct one, I must say.
I think for me, the peak of the moment was when he made the analysis about CNG, talking about 200 naira. Wow. Wouldn't you love to see that?
Well,
200 naira. Imagine us buying CNG for 200 naira. That would, it really ease a lot of pain and remove that name that people are now using these days.
Can we even manage the usage of CNG?
It's inflammable, so as petrol. So you can't have it either way. Both are highly inflammable. So.
Okay, I see. By the way, hope you learned something from the analysis and from the newspaper review at large. Thank you so much for staying tuned. We'll take a break as we go into the second half of the show, where we kick off with our views from the net. We'll be right back.
Stoical, stoical, stoical.
As a child, what is most important to you is love, warmth, acceptance, and security. But as you grow, there is a paradigm shift in the way you approach life. The interest you lose in some things, you pick in other things. Sometimes, the road is smooth. Other times, it is rough. Every step of the way comes with a new hurdle to scale. You win some, you lose some. You laugh hard, you cry hard, but at the end, you look back with a fulfilling smile and say, what a ride. High Impact Television equips you with what you need every step of the way.
Do you know bad production can kill a great content idea?
Do you want to have a photo shoot, audio production, or do you need a professional voiceover artist?
Do you simply want unmatched cinematography, video production, or just event coverage, such as weddings, birthdays, or burials?
Or do you need a space for meetings or conferences? All these are possible with High Impact Studios. Don't bring down your creativity, let's help you take it high.
And out of this world with our state-of-the-art equipment and first-class studio space.
We give you the quality you deserve at the best rate.
For more details, call 0706 393 5694 or 0915 958 1881. High Impact Studios, the future.
Welcome back to the Breakfast Cafe on High Impact Television. Olumide and I are still here. We're taking the first half of the show. Now we're moving to the second half, and this segment is called Views from the Net. This is where we throw out a question and we get you to send in your comments. And just before we came on, Olumide was saying something because we noticed whenever we're talking about love, relationship on the Views from the Net, we usually see a lot of people, you know, respond and comment. And everybody said, but we are complaining that Nigeria is hard. People still have time for love. Of course, we need to, you know, calm down, take out. Sometimes people, is this love that people find sanity sometimes and solace away from all the hardship, when you can have somebody that you go back home to and say, I just need a break. I don't want to do anything. I just want to rest. So today we're talking about a question. Can love sustain a relationship? I know you're like, what's happening? Things are happening in the country. Relax. Let's just relax a little and talk about this. Can love sustain a relationship? You can be a part of the conversation. Do what to call us 0812-182-0154. Can love sustain a relationship? Olumide, now I have the honor. You always have the honor of asking me first. I feel so honored. Can love sustain a relationship?
N-O.
You do not even think, why? What makes you think so? Why? Why did you say so? Is it based off personal experience?
Yeah, personal experiences. Experiences. Love cannot actually sustain any relationship or marriage. It goes beyond that. Because love itself is just a feeling that you have, and it could be clouded, it could be blinded. Yes, that's why they say love is blind. Love makes you imagine things. Love makes you fantasize. So love is not just enough, because in this economy, I'd rather say maybe money and other things. But my own advice is, whatever you do in this life, just date someone who is generous and kind. it will help you in the long run.
Okay, I think I disagree a little. Now here is the twist for me. When they say can love sustain a relationship, most people say, oh no, it can't. It's not enough to sustain. You need to be patient, you need to be kind,
Yes.
you need to be affectionate, you need to be caring and all those things, which is very true. But the truth is, love breeds those things. Yes, so
Or tolerates.
love breeds those things. So if I love you, I'm willing to be patient with you.
With a cheater.
If I hold on,
Okay.
there are people that have cheated in their relationships and they have fixed it and
I'll
they
get
have
to that
moved
later.
on. I'm not encouraging cheating.
Okay.
For me, it's just, I think love is the root. And love is what springs up this kindness and caring and affectionate. I love you so much, so I'm willing to be patient with you. I love you so much, I'm willing to be kind. I love you so much, I'm willing to be gracious. I love you so much, I'm willing to be supportive. I love you so much, I'm willing to spend my money on you. You know, so for
That's
me,
the man, not the woman.
women spend money on men. I don't know where you see your women do.
Okay.
Yes, I said what I said. You need, for me, it means that love is that, it's like a seed. So love is that seed that you plant. And these other things are the fruits that that seed bears. Yes, that is how I say it. Because
Love, well.
even if I care, if I don't love you, I can just care to you as a friend. But love is even what builds friends. They say friendship is the main soul or whatever, that above all, be friends with your partner. Love builds that friendship. You cannot take away love from the relation, from the equation. So in my perspective, love
Is
can
enough.
sustain, yes, love can sustain a relationship because it is the foundation of it.
Well, if you believe love can sustain a relationship, try loving the wrong person. You will turn to a prayer warrior.
Wow, Olumide seems, you seem to be talking with so much hurt and pain.
No,
and
well, I said past experiences. Yes, of course, that's part of the reason why relationship break up. When you fall in love with the wrong person, of course, it's headed for doom and all that. So,
what is your definition of a wrong person?
wrong person. Just love someone who doesn't love you back. That's the wrong person. That is it. Just love someone who is not generous, who is not kind. That's the wrong person. Love someone who is not your friend, who doesn't care, or love someone even more than the person loves you. I think it's either 60,
Can you love yourself
40.
equally?
It's not.
Can you love, the way you love your partner, can your partner love you in the same measure?
It's usually not. It could be 60-40 or 70-30.
I think what we usually mistake is how they show their love. And I was having this conversation with somebody. So because I'm a romantic person, I like flowers, I like waking up to morning texts, I like dates, I like this and that. And I believe that's love. I believe that's how I can handle love. I believe
Okay.
that's all that love is to me. So I'm doing it to my partner, so I love my partner. On the flip side, my partner is not that romantic person. My partner is you need something, I'll show up for you.
Yeah.
I'll be here to support you. Call me once, I'll show up 10 times. And because your partner is not loving you the way you love your partner in terms of gifts, romance, whatever, you now believe that your partner doesn't love you. So we measure it, most times we measure it based off how I love you. You have to love me back. If you don't love me back that same way, then you don't love me. But it doesn't work that way. Until we understand that people have their strengths in different areas. You are the sweet talk kind of person. Call from morning to night, text and do everything. But your partner is that one that you pick up the phone and say, hello, I need to. Before you blink, the partner is there. You need to go to the market, I'm taking you. You need this, I'm doing it. More of act of service. You know, but you are the whole physical touch. You know, so that sometimes we now misplace these things and feel because the person is not loving me the way I love the person doesn't love me.
Sarah, all these things you've said, I've tried everything. Morning text, this, that. It still will not.
We'll go and wash your head.
Okay.
That's all I can say.
But
But let's
love also brought about the mumu button.
okay, I think they have touched Olumide's mumu button so many times and the thing has broken him. But don't worry. You. But let's quickly take this comment. We'll go very, very fast. This is Tomiloluwa from Ogun State. And Tomiloluwa says, love can't sustain a relationship. Head of this saying, love is sweeter with money. I'm not saying to love can't sustain a relationship. I'm saying love alone cannot sustain the relationship. Every time, at least, okay, every time, at least once in a while, show working.
Yes.
This generation, nobody's ready to suffer with you. Is that you have money or have money? And having money also applies to both gender. Thank you, Tomiloluwa. So Tomiloluwa is hitting on the money part.
Not
Love cannot sustain if there is no money. Love is sweeter with money.
Yes, it is.
It doesn't mean that. But if you see a future in the person and you support, haven't you seen people that they met their partner when their partner had nothing? They did not have shoes. They did not have bed. They did not have house. They were squatting, and today they are living in the most luxurious apartment, you know, have all the shoes in the world and all of that.
Times have changed.
You know, so if you see prospects that this person, I see, this person is going somewhere, I tap into that prospect, I'm ready to wait with you. Come on. Why not? Ladies, are you feeling me? Yes, you are feeling me. Olumide is angry. Yeah, he's very upset with what I'm saying.
You're still doing cho.
So men also show, men and women show workings. It's not only men that can buy gifts or spend money. Women too, we can spend money. So.
All right, this next person says, no, not in this Nigerian economy where everything is expensive. Love can be the only thing that can sustain a relationship. Money and other things are also involved. Precious for me.
It seems money is beginning to be...
Yes, money is sweeter. Or love is sweeter with money. It is actually sweet. You enjoy it.
Okay. Let's see Ayokunle from Oyo State. He says, love can sustain a relationship, but it's rarely enough on its own. While love forms the emotional foundation, other elements like communication, trust, respect, and shared values are crucial for long-term success. Love can motivate partners to work through challenges, but practical aspects such as resolving conflict, maintaining mutual support, and adapting to change are equally essential. In many cases, the relationship may struggle if love is present, but communication or trust is lacking. A balance between emotional connection and practical commitment is key for sustainability. Thank you, Ayokunle. That's love is important, yes. That's what I was saying, that it's like the seed that breeds other things. I would love you. I love you so much, that's why I'm willing to fix communication. I love you so much, that's why I'm willing to look past your mistakes and make it work. I love you so much, that's why I'm willing to respect you. These things are important. If you are in a relationship with somebody that doesn't trust you, doesn't communicate, doesn't respect you, you're in trouble.
But if you love the person, you can overlook all that.
Not overlooking. Don't get me wrong.
Okay.
It's not overlooking. It is fixing. Now, it doesn't mean that if you are now in that relationship and you are trying to now, because of the love I have for you, we can make this work. 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, he's still hitting you, she's still hitting you. 5 years, doesn't respect you, she doesn't. I say, no, because I love you and this love to give birth to all these things, I will still stay. Know when to leave. That's it. I'm not saying that as much as, yes, love can make people work on things. When you decide we want to make it work, we can make it work. If you are now not seeing any impact, any change, run.
You know, I think I can speak for maybe 40 to 50% of the men. Now, when a man is dating, he's in love. He puts love at the top. Now,
are you sure?
Yes.
But you guys are still the ones that say men can date even if they don't love you. They just want to have a good time.
Now, that's for the side chick, not for the main chick. Now, I am not... Disclaimer,
Producer,
I am not
encouraging.
I am not encouraging that. I'm just stating.
You said that's for the side chick, so you believe that it's okay to have a side chick?
No, I don't believe it is okay. I'm only telling you the reason why it happens, but it doesn't justify the mean or the ends of the means or whatever. Now, if a man wants to marry, love comes like probably the third or the bottom. Other things come on top.
What are the first two things?
The first thing is this person you want to marry. Is this person your friend? That's number one. Number two, compatibility. Those two things matter a lot. Those are the things a man will check when he wants to. He doesn't think of love. Love will come.
So men out there, is Olumide speaking for you? Is this what it is? Let us know, because so love is like number 4.
It has to be
after
there. Maybe number
friendship,
3.
compatibility. Okay, then
4.
love.
Yes. Because you need friendship. Friendship matters, because they say in marriage, love fades at a point. So actually, if you guys are actually friends, you guys can
Do you
actually.
actually believe love fades?
It might fade.
I don't believe love fades.
It does. You don't believe.
I don't believe
most of the
love
married
fades.
couples have actually spoken to. They will tell you that.
It's not as though it fades. Your love will get tested.
Okay.
At a point, it might get boring. There are times you probably will not have anything to talk about. It might get boring. It will get tested. It will be shaken to enter murky waters. But I don't think it fades. It's the fact that you love this person, you chose to be with this person. It was a decision. So that is what is going to make you, that's what's going to influence your decision to actually, we can push this, we can scale through, we can fight this.
Yes, I forgot to. I think love will come at number 5, because number 3 is what this person is bringing to the table. These days, that's what men are thinking now.
Hey.
Who I'm going to marry? What's this person? What will this person? What
I thought they used
benefit?
to say they are at the table.
Well,
I'm not on that table, but I used to hear.
now, when I say what
they are
this
the
person
table.
brings to the table, what can this person add to your life? If you guys become one, what can she bring in?
What can you bring? Let's take away money, because you guys are always like, money. I'm the one providing the money. Let's take away money. Yes, I said what I said. Let's take away money. What can you bring to the table?
Security. Yes.
Have you seen video of men?
No, when I mean security, hold on.
Oh yeah.
When I mean security, I don't mean having escorts.
Financial security.
Financial security, mental security. You are, once you know that you have, haven't you seen ladies when they say, oh, let me call my husband, let me find out for my...
Newsflash.
Yes.
I was reading something, a survey. If I could pull it up, maybe later in the week I would, and maybe next week I'll show you. And we found out that, I was reading a survey and found out that of recent...
I know where you're going.
Where am I going?
Land.
Most homes.
It's the land.
Because you have seen it. You have seen the survey. But women love that their men still hold that position. It is respect. He's the head of the home. So you still make sure you give it. Even if you are the one catering to the needs at that point, maybe there could be financial crisis.
Definitely.
You understand? So when you say security, I think security comes both sides.
That is why I said, what are you bringing to the table? Now the man has figured it out that, oh, this person, she's got a good job, because I wouldn't advise you to even marry someone who does not have a job. It would
so
tell later.
If she has a job when you marry her and something happens after you marry and maybe she's out of job, will you fall out of love?
You step in.
And what you should see, these things are very practical.
Yes.
Anything can happen. I've
of course.
seen people get married, and in the space of 2 years, it took a nosedive.
Yes.
That's the honest truth.
Newsflash.
We did not say, you know what you are bringing to the table is no more on the table, so I don't love you anymore.
Newsflash, what I've heard from married people who have stayed together for a very long time, the first 3 to 4 years
It's rocky.
is very rocky. If you can survive 3 to 4 years, you guys are good.
So people that divorce after 10 years,
Well,
15 years.
we have Elizabeth from Cross River. Elizabeth, let's have your take on this.
Yes.
Do well to call us back, Elizabeth. 0812-182-0154 is the number to call.
We've not even talked about children. When children come into the scenario.
That's why I laugh when I see men that say, oh, I love a ship. I'm not saying it's bad to, no, come on. Everybody has preference.
That's where money comes in.
Everybody has preference. I love the hourglass. I love the whatever. But have you factored in that when she start having kids, and maybe after 1, 2, I'm not saying women should not take care of themselves after having kids, but it's usually not that easy. Some women never fall back to their original shape, no matter how hard they try. Are you saying that your love might diminish or reduce because she's no longer the shape that she used to be when you got married to her? There are factors that will come in
Let me
that you need
explain
to
that.
consider.
in as much as you like someone, in as much as you love someone, they always say there must be one form of attraction. What?
Absolutely, I don't
So
disagree.
there has to be one attraction from that person, one thing that you find very attractive about that person that would always remind you. When that person annoys you and you're like, why did I even fall in love with this person? And you look at the person and you can't see any. But there has to be one form of attraction. It could be her smile, it could be her ears, her nose, something that you really like, that attracts you, that you always like to see in that person. There has to be that form of attraction. So,
You need some sort of...
no,
I don't know.
love is sweet.
I feel like you have
But
seen
love is not
shaky,
enough.
if I can use that word. You have seen a lot
No,
of...
I believe in love. Love is an amazing thing to experience.
Have you heard this song? I believe in love, but I also believe in spending plenty money for
Yes,
the one
love is
I
sweeter
love.
when you have money. No, when you have money, you become, that's what they call doings. You show workings. It's sweeter. Your actions become louder than your words when you have money.
But you know money cannot sustain it. Is money enough to sustain a relationship?
These days, I think so.
You've not seen people that have money, they are wealthy, but their relationship is scattering. But let's take Michael from Abuja. Thank you for calling, Michael.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Please go on in 30 seconds.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
we can hear you. Please go on with your thoughts.
Okay, I want to ask a question before I make a contribution.
Go on, we can hear you.
Okay, the question is, the presenters, the two of you, are you married or single?
Okay, make your contribution. We'll answer your question.
Because I see that when you try to analyze those days, I feel like somebody who is in the situation will have more experience to explain to with the viewers better. Because the way that Olumide is talking from the angle of a single guy, but I don't know of the lady. But I don't think Olumide as a single will be in position or know much about what is happening in marriage to explain to us as the viewers. But they say experience is the best teacher, though. I
Thank you,
witnessed a couple, like, he said, yes, the love, he said, my faith. Because I noticed a couple in my church, my current church, those people got married. In the first 3-4 months, you think that they went the same attire to church, sit in the same place. These same people I was mentioning that after getting to a year, you see Mama Ikechi at the front, Papa Ikechi at the back. They even go to church different times. So you see that we can't, the love is not enough. As time goes on, it's what, as you said, men are attracted by what they see. There is something that attracts you to that person that will keep you in that relationship or that marriage, not just love. I can just love like 1,001 person on the go, but I'm not attracted to them.
Okay, thank you, Mike.
So
Thank
it goes
you.
beyond love.
Thank you, Michael, for your
So
comment.
love is not enough.
We appreciate you. Right. So Michael is talking about the fact that he has seen a particular couple. At the beginning, it was all rosy, and then... Oh, but thank you so much. We have so many comments that we're unable to take because of the whole conversation. But don't worry, I'm sure we'll bring a part 2 of this for you. But we have to wrap up the segment now because our guest is on the line. For our next segment, we'll be back shortly. Welcome back to the Breakfast Cafe. Now we are talking about something very exciting this morning, work ethics. And in regards to this, we're talking about employment contracts and agreements. You know, when we talk about work ethics, there are a lot of things to consider, you know, as we navigate an increasingly complex and interconnected world. Upholding critical ethics standards in the workplace has never been more crucial. We want to understand what exactly this means. And joining us to have this conversation is Seyi Olulade. She's the managing partner of the Impeccable Scales Company. She joins us virtually. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Seyi Olulade.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
All right. So
I'm really glad to be here. Yeah.
Thank you. All right, this morning we're talking about work ethics, employment contracts and agreements. Before we go deeper, you're a professional in this field, so I'd like to ask, when we hear work ethics, employment contracts, agreements, what exactly does it mean? What exactly are those keywords? Break it down to us.
Okay, when you talk about work ethics, basically it's just talking about acceptable standards within the confines of work, within the confines of any form of, setting that has to do with achieving a goal. And they come in codes of conduct that guides the rules. What you can say they're the rules of for organization that will ensure civility, fairness, and ensure protection of all parties and agreements and what have you. Now, contracts, employment contracts, and whatever contracts are those binding letters, you know, that two entities or individuals come together and it sets the rule, as in this case you have the relationship of the employer-employee. So there are rules that ensures fairness, you know, that ensures that both parties are protected. The objective of which we're coming together is spelled out, the rules that governs it within the confines also of the law, and then it has so many aspects of it and clauses that also includes exiters.
All right. Okay.
So I hope that helps.
Yes.
To address that.
Yes, thank you. So what are some of the key elements and components that should be made available in an employment contract, and how do these components impact the employer-employee relationship? Are you there, Seyi Olulade?
Okay, first, an employment contract must have, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so all right, good. I got the feedback. So your employment contract must be as detailed as possible, but then again it depends on the kind of employment that you have. But in the basics, for basic employment letters, you must have the title, the position. It must state the position. It must state your time of resumption. Employment that has to maybe a short time, 3 months, 6 months, 1 month. It must have a termination date, and if it's not fixed, I mean, it must be stated there. The type of employment must be stated. What the job is going to do. In some employment letter, you have the entire job description included, but most employment letters also have it as an appendix, right? But it must be attached to the letter. The letter must also have within the environment that the organization is set. It must have everything that employers the employers, that guides the employer's relationship with all animals be standard across board. So it is that the employment letter, it must have everything that guides, it must have all, if there are benefits, you state it inside, extra clauses for the organization and also for the employees. And it must be guided by the labor law of the environment.
All right.
All right, let's quickly go on a short break, and when we come back, we'll continue with the program.
As a child, what is most important to you is love, warmth, acceptance, and security. But as you grow, there is a paradigm shift in the way you approach life. The interest you lose in some things, you pick in other things. Sometimes, the road is smooth. Other times, it is rough. Every step of the way comes with a new hurdle to scale. You win some, you lose some. You laugh hard, you cry hard, but at the end, you look back with a fulfilling smile and say, "What a ride." High Impact Television equips you with what you need every step of the way.
Do you know bad production can kill a great content idea?
Do you want to have a photo shoot, audio production, or do you need a professional voiceover artist?
Do you simply want unmatched cinematography, video production, or just event coverage, such as weddings, birthdays, or burials?
Or do you need a space for meetings or conferences? All these are possible with High Impact Studios. Don't bring down your creativity, let's help you take it high.
And out of this world with our state-of-the-art equipment and first-class studio space.
We give you the quality you deserve at the best rate.
For more details, call 0706 393 5694 or 0915 958 1881. High Impact Studios, the future.
Welcome back. It's still the Breakfast Cafe, and we're still discussing something very important this morning. Of course, we have the honor of Seyi Olulade. Yes, and we're discussing we're discussing working ethics, employment contract, and agreement. Seyi Olulade, are you still there? Can you hear us?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you crystal clear.
Can you?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
All right, so
Great.
I'd like to ask a question.
Great.
It has to do with this NDA, non-disclosure agreement, some employers give their employees to sign. So the first question is it legally binding for an employer to give it as a condition of employment? And won't this sort of give the employer more leverage, more power to do certain things that might take the right out of the employee?
Well, it is very legal and it's legally binding. Every contract, even your relationships, let's even just say relationships that the contracts are not spelled out in black and white, right? If you have a friend and you've been friends for so long, somehow there's always a psychological contract of oath of secrecy. What we do here, what we say here is kind of you can't share with anybody. So it is legally binding that every organization would want to protect their business. They want to protect their intellectual property. They want to protect their business, against competition and against anything that would harm them. So it's part of one of those risk management policies policies that the organization puts in place to protect itself. And it's more for, and again, it's actually for the employee as well. Because as long as you continue to be in the employment of that organization, you have to do all you can to ensure that the organization prospers, it grows, and it's part of not divulging any information that comes out from the organization.
All right, thank you for that. We've seen cases where employees are falling into depression, they've gone very quiet, they are not their usual self again, and after some sort of investigation, or maybe when they even leave the organization, you find out they were probably being bullied, or they were facing some sort of harassment, but there was no channel to voice out. So how can employment contracts adequately cater to these needs and address issues like workplace harassment, bullying, discrimination, amongst other things?
Okay, first, the employment contract does not make provision for that. An employment contract is the agreement of, I've called you to come and work for me, or let's go into this to achieve this goal. I've stated what you're supposed to do. This is what guides this employment. But when it comes to anything that has to do with bullying and harassment, you could find all those kind of policies in the handbook. Okay. In the employment handbook. Now, we always say, there's a clause that always says that the employment handbook is not a contract, but, well, I'm not a legal practitioner, so I can't say for sure, but as long as it's a policy of the organization, and I sign at the back of it, that I acknowledge that I've gone through this contract, and I understand and I stand to be guided by it, somehow it's become, the policy has become like a contract. But so you find that such things like harassment, like anything that has to do with bullying and whatever, it depends on the organization. If they have it in their policy, it should guide. Organizations, it is also critical that when you have an HR practitioner that understands his or her role within the organization, the role of that individual along with management is to provide an enabling environment for all employees to be safe, to have psychological safety, to be safe, and to be able to thrive within the organization. So when it comes to bullying, it must be checked. And bullying comes in many ways, even in subtle ways. There are many things that can trigger bullying, and that can be classified as bullying.
Let me interrupt you
comes
for
in
a
many-
bit, Sheyi Olulade.
Yeah.
Now, you know,
Yes, please.
how about a situation where this discrimination or bullying or harassment is coming from someone at a higher position? What are the measures that the organization can take to, if imagine I'm being bullied by someone above me and I also need to secure my job, how am I confident that if I speak about it maybe to the HR, my job, that I still have job security and I wouldn't be threatened? I don't know if you get the picture I'm trying to paint. How can that be properly managed?
Okay, first, it depends on if the organization has an open door policy. And one of the things I always say and advise organization, as much as you can, have an open door policy so that you don't start having huge attrition, exit of employees when your environment becomes toxic. Then two, depends on if you have an HR manager, the HR manager must first understand that the person is there to protect both employee and also the management, right?
Yeah.
And you must be able to speak up. We've seen instances where employees have spoken up, maybe reported senior. You can have what if the harassment is coming from the MD? What then do you do? You understand? What do you do at that point in time? First, for me, I think you should first let in confidence, which is one of the job of the HR person, which is confidentiality. First, to work up to the HR, to let the HR know. Hopefully, the HR has a voice on the table of management and is able to tactfully address it. If the organization has a disciplinary committee, they can take it up to that point. I've seen employees become victimized because of such things, up to stylishly inducing them to exit, and what have you. Well, this is where we are. We find ourselves in this kind of environment. The point is, these days, because of such things, the Nigeria Industrial Court is also protective of the employees. So it's very important that you're not terminated wrongfully. And if you are, please feel free, and you have your evidence, feel free to go to court. We found, there was a case that was going around recently. I don't know if you remember the case of, I think was one of the banks or one of the big organizations where one of the EDs of the organization was alleged to have drugged a junior staff and took her to the hotel, slept with her, and she voiced out. It went viral and what have you. And at the end of the day, it's possible from, a grapevine that it was said that he's been doing that and nobody really has spoken up. But at the end of the day, what happened? The organization had to disassociate themselves from him, and the law took its course. So speak out about it. Yes, I know that most times, because of the environment we are in, we get to be stigmatized, but you need to speak out about it. Speak out.
All right, quickly before we go in less than a minute, I know as a result of the economic crisis in Nigeria, companies are trimming down their workforce, work time and all that, and people are just trying to just keep around the people that actually matter, or should I say one person who can multitask and do like 3 or 4 people's tasks. So my question is, how do employment contracts, how do they balance the need of employers and employees in terms of flexibility, job security and other benefits?
Okay, so for me, once the contract stands, a contract stands, and the contract should always, like I said, initially guide your relationship. But when it comes to issues about how to adjust to cost of living as a result of all the situation we find ourselves right now in Nigeria, I don't think that has to do so much with your contract. It's more about what is right to do. And employers are reacting in many ways to see how they can keep their employees. So it's not a matter of, well, in the contract it says that the person gets salary review in 3 months. I don't think there's always anything like that in any employment contract. But let's just assume that says you get reviewed in 3 months, and yet, as at the time of employment, your petrol was sold at 500 naira. Now it's 1,000 naira. Of course, the cost of living has increased. So it only behoves the organization to look at it in such ways and have a kind of review, which we call COLA, cost of living alleviation kind of increment, if they can afford it. A lot of organizations are using many practical ways to address this. You begin to see, like in my organization, most of my most of my staff are working remotely, even though we did a slight review. But I mean, the slight review we did is not even enough to accommodate what the standard of living. So we had to, increase for some their numbers of off days, working hybrid, for most remote, and it's worked. So organizations are looking for practical ways to ensure that it's a win-win for both parties, for both organization and both and for the organization and the employee. Right. Of course, if you are able to do the remote work and hybrid, organization also reduces its cost of running expenses of the office, right. And what have you. So it has nothing really to do with your contract. It's just one of those things that must be done, right? To keep the employee.
There are still a lot of questions we need to get answers to, but our time is fast spent, and I'll just use this opportunity to say we would love to have you join us again, Seyi Olulade, to have a continuation of this conversation. When you're free, we'd definitely love to have you again.
That's not a problem. I'm always here for you.
Thank you.
I'm always here for you.
Thank you
so
very much for
having
joining us this morning. It's been a delight.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much.
Right.
Enjoy the rest of your
You're
day.
welcome.
Right. Bye. We hope you learned something from work ethics, agreements, contract, I learned a couple of things, but we want to tell you that this conversation will still continue. We'll do well to update you when we'll have Seyi Olulade join us to have a part 2, if we could tag it that way, of this conversation. Thank you for staying tuned. We need to go on a break. As you know, Fridays are for games. So I know our producers' fingers are itching already, but let's see what they have for us in terms of our games today.
Yes, our Ichi producers are ready to enlighten us, entice us to some fun and, of course, educative games. So let's see what they have for us this morning. I think Sarah and I are ready.
Yeah, I'm saying 3 picks, 1 word or something. All right, 3 picks, 1 word. Okay, let's go. Let's have it. Let's see. Who's going first? I'm going first. Why? Why? Okay, let's see.
Ladies first.
Let's see. Tell me why I'm breathing fast all of a sudden.
3 pictures, 1 word.
Because our producers can be funny. Wedding bells. Is it wedding? I don't know. Is it wedding bells?
It's wedding bells now. That should be it. Wedding bells. I don't know what the third one. Yeah. Yes, it's wedding bells.
I don't know what people are holding
or wedding
hands together. Oh, well, if it's not, let us see.
Wedding or wedding bells, because the gathering signifies
bell, wedding. Let's see. Ring. ring the bell. But wedding and ring, we wear ring for wedding now. So I did not get it. Hey, my chest.
Let's go, let's go.
I like the energy.
Let's go. You only live once, let's go. Come on. A rock star.
I think this should be rock.
Rock.
Yeah, I think it's rock.
Rock.
You are rocking the chair. Someone is rocking the chair. Someone is playing rock with the guitar, and that's a rock.
Rock.
You see, rock. I did not get my own, but I got to do this.
Now I get the trick. Something common.
Yes, now among the three pictures.
The three pictures. I was trying to add.
So did Olumide get it, or is bonus for me?
I got it.
So Olumide got it.
I got it.
You didn't get it. Bonus for me. Thank you. Thank you. All right. This is a bow. This is a bow.
A bow.
This is a bow. B-O-W. Yes.
It's a bow.
B-O-W. Thank you. Yes. 1.5 for Sarah. Winning team.
Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Let's do this.
Olumide, I believe in you.
Let's do this.
I believe in you.
Hospital.
Yeah.
Hospital. Hospital.
Let's go. We're getting there. Okay, let's see what they have for me. Sarah, don't. Producer, be lenient. Be kind.
Camera.
Studio, news. Studio, camera, news. Studio, camera, news.
Media.
Media. Studio.
I got it. I got it. I got it.
I got it. The answer had come on the screen. The answer had come on the screen before you said media. It's bonus for me. No.
It's bonus.
I disagree. The answer had come on the screen before he said media.
I got it.
He didn't say it before the answer came up.
I said it. I summed it up.
No, as soon as the answer came up, he said media.
No. I said it. I knew it. I summed it up. Right? This is media.
Studio and media. What's the difference? What's the difference is studio and media? Anyway, we're on the same points. Me or Olumide? I just went now.
This should be a tailor. Tailor or Obioma.
Or fashion designer. Seamstress.
Well.
Did he get it? He did it. You are not kind to me today, but there's no problem. Let's proceed. Paint. This should be paint. Paint, brush, artist, paint, brush, artist.
Illustration. Oh, no. Trying to remember.
Thank you. Thank God I said artist. Thank you.
You said paint or
artist. I said paint, brush, artist. I said it. I got it. Thank you. Let's move on. Hey.
Let's go.
Say tie like this.
Baby.
This is simple now.
This is baby now. Baby.
Producer, what did I do to you?
Baby.
Toddler. You did not get it. Baby and toddler are not the same. You did not get it. You did not get it. Leave me that I'm laughing. I don't know what my next one is. This should be a car. Vehicle. Car or vehicle or mechanic or car or vehicle. Car. Thank you.
You tried.
Thank you. Look who is leading now. Look
that
who
should
is
be
leading.
A school.
If Olumide should win this one, it's a tie.
That should be a school.
Yeah.
A classroom. A school.
It should be a school.
A school. A school. Yeah.
It's a tie. So maybe we should do dancing competition to finalize who the winner is. But there's no problem. It's a tie. Producer is not saying anything again. No problem. But it was quite interesting, I must say. It was fun.
Brain tasking.
It was, you know, we're saying it that if one of our producers, Stockwell, was the one producing, we would have probably been sweating.
Yeah, we shedding tears by now.
But Dam is still very lenient, I must say. But it's been a fun time on the show today. You know, we'll not go without giving you weather forecast. Let's quickly give you the weather forecast for today.
That was the weather forecast, and I must say it has been an exhilarating week. It has been an exhilarating time. Staying tuned to your television, watching us from anywhere around the globe, and we must say thank you for staying with us from Monday down to Friday. So join us again next week for a bumper edition of the Breakfast Cafe. Special thanks to everyone, the producers, the audio engineers, the visual mixers, everyone who took part in making sure that this program was brought to you and you enjoyed it. We hope you were entertained. So let's do this again next week. I am Olumide Shokoya. Enjoy the rest of your day.
And don't forget to follow us across all of our social media platforms at High Impact Studios and High Impact TV. We know that there's a lot of things going on out there. As a country, we're facing so many things, but this is just to encourage you to stay hopeful, don't give up, and be bright, make yourself happy. I am Sarah Owusu-Ansah, and until I grace your screens next week, have yourself a fantastic and beautiful weekend. Bye-bye.
Stoical. Stoical. Stoical.